right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Monday, February 9th. It's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. So Clayton, we are remote for this episode because we waited for the big game to end. That interminable big game is now over, and this is the official BO Boys big game post show where we are going to be going over all of the trailers, all of the movie centric news coming out of this big game. And of course, coming out of halftime shows and everything big game related. If there are pre-game shows on the big game, we'll be covering those on our BO Boys big game post show, which also will include big game pre-show coverage. So a lot to get through today, Clayton. Are you excited? What did you think of the big game? First of all, let's get your hot take on the big game.
I didn't watch it.
You did not watch the big game. What were you watching instead of the big game? And just to confirm, you were on American soil during the time of the big game.
I was, yes, but I was catching up on my Atomic Abe.
Did you watch
a epic, almost 40-minute video about crime time after prime time?
Well, here's what I'll tell you, Clayton. Immediately following the big game, I too watched the Crime Time After Prime Time Atomic Abe. That was the show of the day yesterday. In fact, this should honestly be a post Atomic Abe Crime Time After Prime Time wrap up show. That's what this episode should be, because
I prefer that greatly.
It was incredible. That's the show. The Atomic Abe episode on Crime Time After Prime Time. That's the show that all the commercials should have been buying ad space on.
Mm-hmm.
That is where all of these AI companies, they should have went and said, we want $10 million 30-second spot on Atomic Abe's Crime Time After Prime Time episode. That was incredible how in depth that was, and how what was the show that the guy was big in Serbia, that they want him to make him president of Serbia?
Oh yes. Was that the one that was sweating? Was it Sweating Bullets?
Sweating Bullets. Yes, which also had a different name. That show had two different names.
Yes. But in America, it was called Sweating Bullets.
Yes, and they wanted him to be the president of Serbia. It was an incredible episode of Atomic Abe. Incredible episode.
Yeah. Really brought it. I mean, that was one of those that you're like, yeah, he probably was thinking, big. It's a big game around this time, so he's got to bring his big game. Not that he doesn't always, but yeah, classic ep.
Classic Abe. That is someone who I think it's time we've got to get Atomic Abe on the BO Boys.
Yeah,
it's got to happen. This is a crossover that needs to happen.
Well, is it a crossover or is it a collab?
This is a collab. Atomic Abe X BO Boys. This has to happen. Mm-hmm. This has to happen because we need to get all the behind the scenes about the making of his Crime Time After Prime Time episode. We need to dig into the backstory of how that episode came together.
Yeah.
So back to this big game though, which was of course second to Atomic Abe's Crime Time After Prime Time drop. There was a lot of movie news coming out of this big game. A lot to dig in on. So I'm going to start. Let's start with some trailers.
Well, are we plowing or what?
I was going to say, do we push the plow?
No.
Do we push the plow? We start with the plow.
We always start with the plow. We never not start with the plow.
All right. Well, then let's get this top 10 out of the way. Let's do it. Let's plow. So Clayton, could you give us a plow for the Atomic Abe Crime Time After Prime Time episode drop weekend of Friday, February 6th?
Number 1, Send Help made $10 million, down 48%. No theater change. It's at $35.8 million in its second weekend of release. Number 2, Solo Mio made $7.2 million in its first frame. Number 3, Iron Lung made $6 million, down 67%. It lost 99 theaters. It's at $30.8 million in its second weekend. Number 4, Newbie, Stray Kids, The Dominate Experience made $5.5 million, down in only 1,724 theaters in its first frame. And number 5, Dracula, made $4.5 million in its first weekend. That is your top 5.
And I would say we jump to 8. Wait, where is this? Is this number? Yeah, number 8. Strangers Chapter 3 did $3.5 million at a paltry per theater average of $1,365 per theater. You labeled that Stranger 3 movie when we were doing our weekend preview and we were cleaning out the garage. You said Strangers Chapter 3 was a dead raccoon that had stunk up the entire garage and needed to be scraped off of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say in retrospect, after seeing this opening weekend, that you nailed it, Clayton?
Yeah, I mean, 3.5, though, is higher than I expected.
It is. It's okay. Was the raccoon slightly alive when we found it? It couldn't move. It was immobile. It had been squished, but it was wriggling. Maybe even just out of neurons were still firing.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was twitching. It wasn't really alive, but it's definitely dead. I mean, by next weekend, fully dead.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
no, there's going to be no sort of animating energy at all, even if it's just synapses firing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is the status of Strangers Chapter 3. It was squished. It was, for all intents and purposes, dead, but there were some neurons that were making the claws wiggle a little bit to freak you out. If anything, it was even freakier to find that it was in the state that it was instead of being fully dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the end of these movies. I guess with the Strangers movies, they made all 3 of them at once. Renee Harlan filmed all 3 of these movies on the same weekend. And so even though they all kind of bombed, they all made enough money that the endeavor was, I guess, worthwhile for Lionsgate.
I mean, maybe in aftermarket, here's 3 movies with a name that you recognize.
Right. It's a project that would have been a slam doink 15 years ago, for not even the timeline of the Strangers franchise, just having a new 3-movie series that you could shrink wrap the DVDs and put them in Targets and Walmarts. That would have been a slam doink. We're making a bunch of money off of this.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you're not shrink wrapping as many 3 DVD collections as you used to.
No.
And that's probably where the ultimate value of this new trilogy would have been, is in the shrink wrapping DVDs. Stray Kids, the dominate experience. Clayton, much like Atomic Abe did with the Crime Time After Prime Time franchise, could you give us an in-depth discussion of what this Stray Kids dominate experience is and the history behind it? Can you do that?
I cannot do that. I don't know what this is.
Okay. So I'm Googling in the background, and it looks like this is a Korean band, South Korean band, like a K-pop band, and this is a concert film, this dominate experience. Do you have any idea why the ATE in dominate is capitalized? Because
are they a food-based band?
Has to be, right? Are they eating up there on stage? Like, do you think they're playing foods?
Food-based?
I haven't searched if they are food-based. I mean, I assume the band members are human and they are not themselves, vegetables or slabs of beef. I mean, they probably are beefcakes because they are a boy band. But I think they are humans. I don't think they are food. I do think they are playing food instruments, like someone is playing like a giant zucchini with spaghetti strings on it. That's the only thing that makes sense to me as to why you would capitalize the ATE and dominate.
Well, it looks like the Stray Kids also have a web series called Mysterious Kitchen, where
Okay.
a few of the members comfort their fellow members using food therapy.
Wow. Okay. 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 So uh they are musicians and chefs and therapists all in one, these Stray Kids. And I guess based on the name, they also were left to fend for themselves in the streets.
Maybe.
Wow. 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 So I mean, this dominate experience, this theatrical experience, are we mostly seeing music or are we seeing food therapy sessions?
Both.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And of
Oh,
course, lyric videos.
and lyric
They'd have
videos.
to.
It has to be at least 80% lyric videos, as that is the trend in the States, unless they are breaking that trend. Instead of lyric videos, it's food therapy sessions in the spots where normally an American film would have lyric videos.
So actually, it looks like this Mysterious Kitchen only lasted for 3 episodes.
Okay, but it had an impact on the culture because it seems like that is the theme of their movie is these food therapy videos.
And it was in 2021.
Wow. So they've been waiting to make this film for 5 years.
Yeah.
This is the film that they knew that they had to make, was based on the food therapy web series that only lasted 3 episodes in 2021.
So it was just built up. It was built up fan interest.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
got this to where it went.
Yeah.
5 million.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think this is great counter programming at the box office, because I don't know how many Stray Kids fans care that much about the big game. They went out and they saw their boys.
Yeah.
In the theater.
See them singing and watch them cure someone else's depression with a tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that would work? Is that something I should try on you when you're, I don't know, having a mental break, some kind of freak out? Do I bring over a hoagie, a bowl of pasta, and just shove it in your face? Is that what I should do?
No, it's so many carbs. Why would you do that? It made me feel worse.
Make you feel worse. Okay. All right. Well, I'll try different foods then. Try dumping them on your head and see if that helps your mental state.
Yeah.
Like the Stray Kids do. I assume that's what food therapy is just dumping food on someone's head when they're in a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're sort of mushing it in their head until they say, I feel better. I'm fine. Yeah. All right. Well, good for the Stray Kids getting some dollars in the box office. See, a movie that is food based, this dominate experience, I would think that also helped with concession sales at theaters where this movie was playing. If you're watching a movie that's an hour and a half of music and food-based therapy, I assume you're going to want to buy some nachos, even just to try your hand at the therapy part.
Yeah, even to like massage the cheese into your hair or whatever.
Right. Is this going to make me feel better like it helped the Stray Kids?
Right into the scalp.
Yes. I thank God for these Stray Kids this weekend. 5.5 million added to the box office, sold a bunch of popcorn and nachos for therapeutic purposes. I think they did a real service on Big Game Weekend. Ahead of that, number 2, Solo Mio did $7.2 million. So Kevin James and Allison Hannigan, who either is playing his love interest, his daughter, or neither, we don't know and we'll never know, they got to 7 million.
Could she be playing his mom?
Okay. That is possible. She is pretty versatile, this Allison Hannigan, and this may have been a script where she said, this is an opportunity for me to test myself. Can I play Kevin James's mom?
Yeah.
And Kevin James, he looks at an actress who's 10, 15 years younger than him, and he says, yes, that makes sense. That should be playing my mom. Possibly. Do you think that had any? Do you think the mystery of whether Allison Hannigan was his daughter, mom, love interest, or neither? Do you think that mystery helped this box office tally get to 7.2 million? Were people curious?
Well, I mean, 7, I guess on this weekend it's not bad, but it's not good.
Okay.
I mean, if Kevin James had real power here, he could have he could have had a movie that opened higher than 10 million, which is what the number 1 movie Send Help did.
Yeah.
Like if
these aren't the Hitch days anymore. Do we think that this opening of Solo Mio finally cleared up the controversy of who is the real draw of Hitch, Will Smith or Kevin James? Do we now have an official answer for that?
Yeah.
And it was Will Smith. Okay. Italy, do we think this is a good or bad sign for how people in the United States feel about Italy? Because this was an Italy set movie. I don't think Italy really was a draw in North America this weekend. I don't think people were dying to go see this. These aren't this isn't the high point of, I think, people wanting to see Italy right now. These are not the Mr. Italy days. That if you look at that as the high point of Italy's popularity in the American culture, we're not there right now based on Solo Mio. And these brothers, what were the name of the brothers who made this? There were like 18 brothers who worked together.
7 of them.
They are the Kanani brothers, I think they're called. Yes, the Kanani brothers. Now in retrospect, was it too many brothers? The thing is, this movie only made 7.2 million, and that's a lot of Italian mouths to feed. A lot of brothers who've got to get paid off of this opening weekend box office.
Yeah,
that may be too many
mouths.
They're not
making the full box office number, so they don't even get a million apiece.
No. You're splitting with the theaters and the distributor, and they're
paying off some guys that were sitting around, making sure nothing bad happened.
Yep. Yeah, they're basically
getting the most money.
They're getting the most money. The no-show jobs on Solo Mio were very lucrative, for sure. The Kanani brothers take care of the local neighborhood guys. So, yeah, these Kanani brothers, they're basically splitting up like a roast beef hero 7 ways coming out of this opening weekend.
One positive about this weekend, and I don't think we really have to talk about Send Help other than, 10 million, not bad. Iron Lung.
Yeah.
I mean, it dropped in the 60s, but it didn't drop in the 80s.
It didn't drop in the 80s. Send Help's hold was really good. Send Help only dropped 48%. So that's a really good hold for a horror action movie on big game weekend. That's a really good hold.
And it made 10 million, made double digits.
Yes. This is a great box office. This is a great success for Raimi and for Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams showing that at a certain level, I'm all you need. And you don't need, Dylan O'Brien. I thought he was great in this movie. Looking forward to what he does next, but obviously he meant nothing for the box office. This was all Rachel McAdams, and she came in and said, "If you got me, you're okay. That's all you need."
Yeah.
And yeah, you want to just see Raimi just knock out one of these every 2-3 years. Just give him a 30, $40 million budget horror thriller. He'll get you to, I mean, this movie is probably going to get to what? It's at 35 million. I think it'll get to 50. It'll make another 30 or so worldwide. This is an 80 or $90 million worldwide a gross on a movie that probably costs like, 30 million or less to make.
Yeah.
So just let's get a Raimi. either October or January movie every couple of years. So yeah, and number 5, let's jump down to number 5, this Dracula from Vertical Entertainment, 4.5 million. Can we say that this film, this Dracula, and also The Strangers Chapter 3, these movies cried macho?
Well, no.
Strangers is a low
Strangers
budget.
didn't cry macho. It made less.
It made less. So this is because Cry Macho did $4.47 million in 2021 when it came out. I think this Dracula, this is a perfect Cry Macho situation.
The thing here, though, is Cry Macho, I think, is when you expect more from a movie.
A studio film. This is a
studio film, and it cries macho.
I get that.
This movie, I did not expect it to make $5 million. So this is a triumph for this movie.
Okay.
I think Cry Macho is when you expect more and people are crying over it.
Yeah.
I don't think Vertical Entertainment, this is the biggest opening they've ever had, I believe.
Okay. So a Vertical Entertainment film can Cry Macho. Yeah. Yeah. But they're not going around dancing a jig, though, over at Vertical Entertainment. Do you think that
Vertical Entertainment is different than Warner Brothers? Like these sort of movies don't cry macho because they're not big studio movies.
So Vertical Entertainment, you think this is a triumph for them? This Dracula at 4.5 million. I'm asking. I'm not leading. I'm not trying to stir the pot here. Do you think this Dracula movie then is a triumph for Vertical? Will we see more Draculas based on this opening weekend? Because you could do whatever you want with the Dracula IP. Me and you can make a BO Boys Present Dracula the movie tomorrow. We could go into production on that.
Yeah. I mean, yes, why not?
So big win then for Vertical, 4.5 million on this Dracula. Caleb Landry Jones, is this a Dracula that the public said we want this man as Dracula?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. But you're saying they're dancing a jig over at Vertical Entertainment. Those are your words.
If you have your biggest opening weekend as a distributor, you're celebrating.
Okay.
And that's what Vertical had with this. So they're celebrating.
Do we think that Vertical, I'm just looking here, solid 64% recommend. Let's see. The 25 to 34 set was the pick's largest at 39%. That's according to Anthony Diaz for Dracula, D'Alessandro, in his must-read Sunday write-up. And the pick was biggest in the West, Mountain, and South Central. AMC Burbank, highest grossing venue for the weekend. So, yeah, young people, I guess, were kind of into this. The biggest a group was the 25 to 34 set. So that's not super young, but that's middle age, 25 to 34. So the middle age set really liked this Dracula movie.
Now, middle-aged for demos. For
demos.
People who sell things to people care about.
Yeah. Of course, middle age.
You were 25, you were middle age.
Yes. Middle age for life expectancy with, AI now and uploading your consciousness into the cloud is, I think now it's up to like 97, 98 years old because you could live on as a worker robot for almost 200 years is what I've read or saw in a Super Bowl, in a big game commercial.
Yep. Almost did it. You
almost did it. Almost got a suit, but it was a big game commercial. So I guess, okay, good for Dracula. Good for Dracula is still kicking. That name still has some value.
At least for smaller, at a smaller scale, for sure. I mean, that's what, you can't spend a lot of money. I mean, although this did have a very high budget for a small movie, small distributor. But, yeah, like making a $300 million Dracula movie at a studio is probably not a good bet.
Right. And this probably is playing well around the world because Dracula means something even more in European countries, Scandinavian countries. People really look at Dracula as a local boy made good.
Yeah.
So, all right, good for Dracula. So that is pretty much it for this weekend's box office. Do you have anything else that
Nope.
stuck out to you? So let's talk about the big game post show, the trailers. I'm going to start by throwing this out here right now. Hot take. I wonder if you'll push back on this. This Mandalorian and Grogu is going to absolutely, based nothing else than on this big game commercial, this movie will eat shit at the box office in May. This Star Wars movie is going to be a disaster. Did you see this big game commercial for this Mandalorian and Grogu?
Yes, I watched all the trailers online.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think this is going to eat shit?
First of all, I don't get it. And maybe I'm old, but actually I'm very young based on new life expectancies because my consciousness will be in a robot that will work in a factory for hundreds of years. But maybe I'm too old to get what the hype is about this Mandalorian and Grogu. The commercial it was a parody of a Super Bowl like Clydesdale commercial?
Yeah, like the Budweiser commercials.
What about that is going to get people excited to see this movie in a movie theater in just 3 or 4 months? This was the kind of commercial that you could drop as a teaser a year out of the movie. But we're talking 3 or 4 months. You have to get people excited to say, I got to see this on a big screen. And this trailer looked like any other commercial. It looked like they should have been holding a bag of Doritos, or at the end, Grogu should have looked into camera and said, buy crypto. It just looked like a terrible Super Bowl commercial. Sorry, big game commercial for any other product. Like they were just the stars of some web series that an ad agency bought the rights to sell their cryptocurrency or their AI website or their potato chips.
Well, I mean, I think you're understating the popularity of that show to people who've watched all of those shows. They already know who these characters are, right? I mean, a lot of people know who these characters are. I think tying it into the big game as an homage to one of the most famous of all Super Bowl commercials, the Clydesdale
big game commercials.
Sorry, big game commercials.
You're now named in the lawsuit.
Doing something a little bit different than just showing a trailer.
So you love this. You loved this.
I didn't love it, but the thing I like that I've liked about the several like sneak peeks or whatever I've seen of this movie is that it looks like they're using puppetry, like practical creatures, because it looked like those fake Clydesdales, whatever, bullshit name these dumb alien horses have. They look like they're puppets. They don't look like they're terrible CGI. And that to me is interesting. I think this movie's going to do really well with kids because of how cute everything seems. And I think it's going to do well at the box office.
Wow.
Because I think it's going to be something that's kid-friendly that parents can take their kids to.
So you think there'll be a lot of kids who are going to say, Mommy, I got to see that movie where they parodied the old beer commercial from when you were a kid.
No, they're going to say that little thing is cute, and then the parents are going to be like, oh, that's a homage to that commercial I remember.
And then the kid's going to look at their iPad.
Play.
And then the kid's going to look at their iPad. Listen, this is a commercial to me that only appeal to the niche audience that is still watching Star Wars TV shows, which is old people. I get it. You got this cute little green guy. You want to have him appeal to kids. Have him interact with the Stray Kids K-pop band in a commercial. Have him do something that kids care about. Have little Grogu start yelling 6767. Something for the kids instead of being a part of a parody of a commercial from the 90s.
I mean, listen, I will
it's
say
appealing to old farts only, which is all Star Wars does at this point. And probably the Star Wars fans, knowing them, they're watching that and they're like, that wasn't actually the right angle that they used in the Clydesdale commercial. That's not the right one. Grogu wasn't sitting in the same place as the actor from the commercial.
Well,
that's.
I'll say I understand what you mean about people not following these Star Wars television shows, but The Mandalorian's a different beast because it was one of the first, and it was covered as if it was a big deal, and a lot of people did watch it.
Okay.
Now, the ones that have came out, after that have not been well liked or well watched, other than Andor, which I think. Didn't Obama tweet out you should watch Andor to show how to rebel?
Yes.
Isn't that what he tweeted out? He said, hey, if you want to know how to fight back, check out this show, Andor.
Check out
Disney
episode
Plus.
5, season 3 of Andor. Yeah, he tweeted that out at the height of, when we had that bad weather and there's ice everywhere.
Yeah.
He said, if you want to rebel against ice storms, watch Andor.
He did his part. He's doing his part.
He's doing his part. He's using his platform and steering people towards Andor.
Yeah.
Very important. I think he had when everything was going down, he put out a Instagram slide that had his top 10 Andor episodes of the year. Yeah. His Andor playlist. He released that. So he's like, doing his part.
Don't trust IMDb. Trust these ratings.
Yes.
The Obama Andor ratings.
So I've also, you're talking about Mandalorian being the big hit. I think you're thinking more about the season when it premiered. Mandalorian's had like 4 or 5 seasons since that I don't think people have really cared about. This is not a movie that came out at the height of Baby Yoda, which is what Grogu was known as when he was most popular. He was known as Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Now that he's known as Grogu, we're like 3-4 seasons past the Baby Yoda craze. And I don't think this commercial helped reinvigorate the Mandalorian brand. Is all Scream 7.
They should have replaced Grogu with Labubu.
Yes, if this was Labubu and Mandalorian, let him ride horses and parrot. Here's what they should have done. If Mandalorian and Grogu were adamant that we have to do a parody of an old Super Bowl. I'm sorry, big game. We have to do a parody of an old lawsuit. Is going to get out of hand. And we're not cutting any of this out because it's a raw feed. We're doing it live.
It's a raw feed.
So they're like, no, we insist. We're doing parody of an old big game commercial. You do the Cindy Crawford Pepsi commercial, and you have Mandalorian is standing there, and then Grogu comes up to the ranch, comes up to the dirt driveway, and Mandalorian's like, whoa, just cannot believe how hot this Grogu is. That's the commercial that you do.
Well,
you have Grogu with Cindy Crawford. Is that the case? Not an old man like Yoda.
It's a baby. Pat.
Okay. So then reverse. Okay, reverse it.
Reverse it.
Doesn't help. Okay, so don't do this commercial at all, is what you're saying. With Grogu.
The one you pitched, no.
Don't do it. Okay. Got it. And not the commercial where the women in the office are looking at the construction worker through the window.
And it's Grogu? No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So
It would get people talking in the wrong way.
So maybe just stick with the Clydesdale commercial after all.
It's probably the safest one.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, then listen. There's no bad ideas when you're talking about
those were pretty bad.
A commercial. There's no bad ideas. Scream 7. This trailer. I don't think this moved business one way or the other.
No, dude, it's so much better than what they've been putting out.
In what way? Just because it focused more on
it's very focused on what the movie's actually supposed to be about. It's violent. There's fire in it. It seemed intense. It looks like a horror movie that if you haven't seen the other ones, you'd maybe go to just because you're like, oh, it looks violent.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best piece of publicity they put out.
Okay. Is this because you're the Scream guy? Of course, you and Chelsea White, who we've got to get on the show, in a couple of weeks to help cover this film. You are the Scream heads on this show. As we're getting closer, we saw the big game commercial. Are you getting excited for Scream 7?
I'm excited for it, but that doesn't mean that I think it's going to do well.
Okay. Here is a movie that I think is going to blow the doors off. And I think this, there was nothing new in this big game spot, but I think to me, this played perfectly for a big game audience. Project Hail Mary, coming out in March. I think we've got a huge hit on our hands, and I think this is the kind of movie that a big game audience that has a lot of people that probably dip into a movie theater a couple of times a year, mostly for the big sequels or the big IP that they know. I think this movie about Ryan Gosling being in space and having to befriend an alien to save, to pull off his mission. I think that's the kind of trailer commercial that a big game audience, oh, that's that guy from Barbie. Oh, it's space. Oh, this looks cool. I think this played really well. What about you? Do you think that Project Hail Mary are you as high on it as I am?
No. I mean,
wow.
I think this is a test on the test of Ryan Gosling's true popularity, because this movie is him. This movie is him talking to some CGI rock thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be what we're going to see, whether America firmly rejects him as a leading man, a blockbuster leading man. He's had a lot of chances. This is the last one, I think. Because this is a lot of money. This is just him.
It's him
don't
plus
like
a big
space.
book. Okay, take your bias out of it, because space does often do well. I mean, Interstellar, The Martian,
Yes.
The Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. What is that? It's not called Lost in Space, but if the title wasn't taken, that could have been called Lost in Space. That was what was Gravity? Gravity. And those are movies that they weren't part of franchises. Space is the genre that you could have a giant blockbuster if you've got the right premise about someone in space, about a movie star in space.
Now, The Martian was a giant hit, had Matt Damon doing a very similar sort of thing. He was just by himself, though.
He was just by himself.
This is going to be Ryan Gosling. I mean, but the thing is, Matt Damon is a guy who makes movies that make a lot of money.
Ryan Gosling is Ken from Barbie. I know
that
we're
doesn't
poo-pooing.
Stop it.
You can't stop it. I will not stop it. I know you were very low on the
Fall Guy,
which held well. Go back and look at the Fall Guys run. It opened low. It shouldn't have opened the summer. It shouldn't have been your first movie in May. But audiences did go to that movie.
but was not a blockbuster. It was not a blockbuster, okay? This is an expectation of a blockbuster film. This is they want to make $250 million domestic on this thing, right?
Yes, they definitely make over 2. They want to probably get to 400 or 500 worldwide. Well, just anything let's try and stay on the commercial then, because we'll be previewing this in a month. Anything in the commercial and the audience that saw it that you think either appealed or dissuaded them based on this spot in the big game?
I think if you didn't know this movie existed and you like Ryan Gosling, you're excited for it, maybe. If you've read the book and you realize, oh, they're making a movie about this book, I'm excited. My fear about it is that The Martian was a long time ago. And this has a similar tone to that. And I don't know if younger people are going to have any interest in this.
Okay.
That's my thought.
So I love this because much like Barbie, you went into that film thinking it was going to be a disaster. I said for months and months and months it was going to be a huge hit. They picked the exact perfect way to adapt that property. I was proved right in probably the biggest way of all time. Let's say from now we're taking 2 different paths on this Project Hail Mary.
No,
you think it's going to bomb?
No, I don't think it's going to bomb. I think it'll do fine. There's nothing in this trailer that made me more excited about this movie than I previously was, other than it's based on a big book, which a really big book, a book that like people who don't read books have read.
Yes, that's the key. This is a book for both very literate and illiterate people. This is a big book. It's a crossover people. I think
Ryan Gosling is a known guy who people like.
Yes.
And space can do well. So I think it could do well. I'm not blown away by this trailer in any shape or form.
I think something we have to keep in mind when we analyze how these trailers did on the big game is we're people who have seen all of these trailers and all the iterations of these trailers over and over and over again. The whole idea of a big game spot is to introduce these movies to people who haven't seen these trailers, even though they've been available for months, that they've been playing in theaters that they're not going to, that they've been featured on YouTube channels that they don't visit. So even though we've seen these trailers before, this is going to be a lot of big game viewers' first time ever hearing that these existed. So all I'm saying is I think for a movie like Project Hail Mary, there was a lot of big game viewers who didn't know about this. And it was Gosling, it's space, it looks cool. I think the premise is hooky enough that they were intrigued. I'm not saying they spit their chicken wings on the floor because they just were so blown away, but I think they stopped mid-bite to give it a look.
I don't think so. People were still shoving shit in their face.
Okay. Disclosure Day, another alien-centric movie. This is from Steven Spielberg. Comes out in June. We went to go see this billboard the day the billboard dropped in Times Square. We walked over to the corner, waited for the billboard to light up. So that's where we're at with the hype for this movie. Do you think big game viewers responded to this trailer?
I mean,
Josh O'Connor
with Spielberg is that he's a real filmmaker. He makes good-looking films. He's one of the only people. I mean, the only people who it feels like can make films that actually feel like films now are in their 70s and 80s.
Okay,
he's one of them. I think that if you're like, I'll go see a Spielberg movie no matter what, you're excited. I think it is an exciting premise. The only thing about it is like, oh, aliens are coming, but like, it feels like it's an action movie more. It feels like a thrilling action movie that you're not seeing any aliens.
That's listen,
but
this could be
trust. You've got to, the thing with Spielberg is that you got to trust that he's gonna show you them aliens. He's just not giving it all away. Like you have to if you're a filmmaker that's trying to make a name for yourself, or if you're trying to have a fan base be interested in the adaptation of something,
Right.
where it's like, I need to see whether they got this creature right or not.
And it's tough with Spielberg when it comes to showing an alien, because he showed us probably the most popular alien that'll ever be put to screen. E.T. is king of the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin the Martian licks his E.T.'s toes every day because that's where they are on the cinematic alien totem pole.
Yeah.
Is Marvin the Martian every day, hands and knees, licking those tootsies of E.T. E.T.'s the king of the aliens. It's gonna be tough for Spielberg because he's shown aliens since, but they're like, it's hard for him to say, come see Disclosure Day, I've got a new alien, because he knows how he will be judged, and
War
that's
of the
against
Worlds
E.T.
big hit.
War of the Worlds was a big hit, but they were like aliens that were only in the ships, right? You only saw the ships. He wasn't showing you, here's a new alien that's going to hang out with you the whole movie. So I think that's always.
We saw some creatures, didn't we?
I don't remember. All I remember is the couch scene in War of the Worlds, is the Tom Cruise jumping on the couch. That was, of course, the scene everyone remembers from War of the Worlds. And remember, Spielberg wasn't, his War of the Worlds was the one with Tom Cruise. It wasn't the one with Ice Cube from last year. I know you mix those up sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Disclosure Day has always got that high bar of it's a Spielberg alien movie, E.T. So they didn't show anything in this. Obviously, the stars in this don't mean a lot. Emily Blunt is famous and she's been in big hits, but not. Although, listen, she's been in big hits, but then no one else. Josh O'Connor, he's the internet favorite. Bono's daughter's in this, good for her. But this movie, Spielberg, Coleman Domingo, great, can't wait for. Listen, we're not the Strubo Boys, huh? But 4 Seasons Part 2, give us some more Coleman Domingo. This movie, Steven Spielberg is the star of Disclosure Day.
Yes.
And I think a big game audience, I know Spielberg isn't the big name he was in, 1993, but when you're talking about a big game audience, I think Steven Spielberg is still a big star.
Oh, if you ask a just Joe Lunchpail or
Susie
Crocheter, name a director.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd get a lot of Spielbergs.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a Nolan, you might get some of the, you might get Jordan Peele,
Mm-hmm.
You'll get some of those. But I think when people think director, they think Spielberg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's and especially within a big game crowd.
Yeah,
he's still the guy. So I'm looking for
like who was the ET guy? Who was the ET guy?
Yeah. If this movie had said a new film from the ET guy, that would have gone over huge.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll be covering that movie. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm very excited to see if Spielberg, because he's been making movies on a different scale these last few years. He's been making his political dramas, The Post and Bridge of Spies, and he made his Fablemans. This is him saying, I'm still a summer guy. This is him saying, I'm a summer movie guy. Let's do it. So we'll see. Minions made some news during the big game, Clayton, because their trailer, their big game spot, revealed the title of this summer's Minions movie. Mm-hmm. We now know that the Minions movie is going to be called Minions and Monsters. And it is about the Minions. Back in the past, they unleashed monsters on the world and then had to protect the world from these monsters. I love that we had a trailer that actually gave us a piece of news. So thank you, Minions. I start by saying thank you, Minions, for doing a reveal during the big game. Do you think that these monsters are a value add to the Minions franchise?
Well, it's interesting to have like a Cthulhu-based kids character, a
Mm-hmm.
cute Cthulhu. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we're such a debased society. Why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Um, this to me is just they're so not for me. I can't. It's just so annoying. This the whole thing. I know kids will eat it up, probably, maybe. I don't know. It just was
Definitely.
noise and colors to me. I
They're
watched this trailer
Minions.
and was like, I don't find these minions to be interesting at all. I think these jokes are all stupid
Wow.
uh,
Okay.
and coarse, like using the mummy to wipe your ass. It's a joke you make when you're 3 years old. It's probably one of the first jokes you make is a duty joke.
Right. But
Um,
with the mummy, well, not with the mummy. At 3 years old, are you using the mummy as a reference when you're doing a duty joke? See, I think that's an elevated uh, joke,
I think this movie probably will make a lot of money.
right? Which is what we care about. We are the
We
BO
do care
boys.
about it, but
We are not critics, huh?
huh? But yeah, I just just feels very I'm having a hard time. It's hard. It's hard around this time of year,
Mm-hmm.
the big game, because everybody's selling you shit, and
Mm-hmm.
everything just becomes this big pile of shit to try and find something interesting in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, watching this commercial, I was like, I'm just staring at a pile of shit here.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I mean, listen, I thank the Minions for coming back, for staying on the big screen when I am sure the Minions are getting plenty of streamo offers to take their talents off of out of theatrical.
Well,
They're
they have a
staying
TV show. They have
theatrical.
like a streaming show, I'm sure.
But they could the big franchise are these feature length adventures, and they're going every 3 years. The Minions are going into theaters, and now they're bringing these monsters, and yeah, they're wiping their ass on the mummy, but they're doing it on the big screen, and it's going to make $1 billion. I am excited for the Minions. I was excited when I saw their big game spot. I am excited to talk about their opening weekend in July. I think that's going to be another exciting moment because they stayed on theatrical. Let's talk about a big game spot for an IP that went from theatrical to streamo, that didn't do what the Minions are doing, which is staying in theaters. This IP said, you know what? I made a lot of money once in theaters, and now I'm going streamo. Clayton, did you see the trailer, if we could even call it that, for The Adventures of Cliff Booth, written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by David Fincher, the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was a huge hit in summer of 2019, did I think 140 million domestic from Sony, and it will be streaming on an undetermined date because this big game spot didn't even tell us when this movie would be coming out. It'll be streaming on Netflix. Did you see this trailer?
Yes.
What are your thoughts? We both loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We've seen it together. We've both rewatched it a million times. Um, I mean, listen, I'm probably, you could tell I was disgusted by this trailer.
Yeah, go into that more. Why?
Um, First of all, because it's going to be on Netflix, which we knew, and I think at different points, I was saying, well, at least we're getting it, at least. But now when I finally saw the trailer and I thought back, here's what I thought back to. Do you remember the first time you saw the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood trailer?
Yeah.
Months before that movie came out. And the second we saw the trailer, we knew this is going to be an all-time movie. It's going to be a hit. It's Leo and Brad Pitt in a July release. The excitement that we got just seeing that trailer, probably, I'm sure that would have been like the winter before, we probably saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Just elation knowing that this was going to be a big movie star summer hit from Tarantino. And now seeing this trailer and just it hits you, this is going to be no Leo, which I could dealt with if this was a summer movie and just Brad Pitt's character was in it. I'd say, okay, of course, it's a Brad Pitt movie. I'm in. But to know that it's not going to be in theaters, and I'll tell you what, it looked like it's not going to be in theaters. When I finally saw footage from this movie and David Fincher's, digital Netflix sheen all over these scenes, it really was a punch in the face of there's a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel that is going to be on Netflix and not on the big screen. Mm-hmm. And it was a bucket of, how you win the big game and your friends pour a bucket of ice Gatorade on your head, but it feels good because you won the big game. This was a bucket of ice water that just felt cold and didn't come after a victory. That's
it
what
wasn't for a good cause.
It wasn't an internet challenge for charity. No. I hated this. I hated the grindhouse scratch marks over their mouths to show that I guess they curse in this film. Is that the big draw, that we're finally getting a movie where people
censor nudity and expletives and things?
Right. But it was often used just over mouths as if the big draw was, hey, they're going to curse in this Cliff Booth movie. Do you believe it? Go to Netflix. We have characters who use cuss words. It just felt desperate. That felt desperate to me. The look of it and knowing that it wasn't going to be Tarantino.
See, it's funny that this is all dawning on you now, because my whole thing about this movie from the very beginning when it was announced is that it was a bad idea and it shouldn't happen. And I thought it was going to be bad because I don't think Fincher and Tarantino are a good fit. I think Fincher's, and the fact that he is now a Netflix guy, has really diminished him as an artist. So my expectations for this were very low. So I'm not disappointed in this at all. It's what I thought it was.
So just as
they are who we thought they were.
They are who just as the functionality of this is a big game spot. This trailer didn't have the title of the movie. Mm-hmm. We never once saw the words Cliff Booth in this movie. We never saw a date for when this is coming out. To the point where right afterwards I thought, are they doing what they did for the Cloverfield movie? Are they dropping this just after the big game? Which is not the case. That would have been cool. Yes, that would have been cool just to get this over with. So functionally, it's another one. When you look at that spot up against everything else that you had for these big game commercials, was just a series of de-aged old actors and pop culture figures selling you crypto and AI. It was basically 4 hours of that. Every commercial was, here's a de-aged Jason Alexander, he's selling you AI. Here's a de-aged Matthew Broderick selling you AI. And just here's a de-aged, Mr. T, and he's selling this Dogecoin or whatever. That was 4 hours of that. When you see this Cliff Booth a trailer and then there's no title and there's nothing telling you what this is, it just plays as any other big game ad where you're like, oh, that's weird. I guess Brad Pitt is de-aged and he's selling AI, but they just didn't mention which AI company it was. Like it didn't even feel like they were giving you a movie trailer.
Yeah, it was like, if you were shoving nachos in your face, you might have missed that this was all just for Nexus 44 or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Like you can make a Tarantino movie, just like you can make an app.
That is what this felt like. This felt like an ad for some AI company where you could make your own movies. Yes.
Yeah.
It might as well have been an ad at the end that says David Fincher made this with Chat GPT.
Well, Aronofsky just made one, didn't he? Just make an AI movie?
Wow.
Was that him, Aronofsky?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't really dug into that one yet, but I think you're right. Yeah, it's the trailer. Aside from it being that bucket of ice water, letting us know that this is really happening, and it looked bad. And listen, I was open to it, but these scenes, the look of it, just right off the bat, just felt off.
And you know what? This is like a niche sort of one-to-one, but it sort of felt like when, you know, that Ty West trilogy where you had X and then you had
Pearl.
one of the greatest movies of the century,
Yep.
Pearl, and then you had the letdown of Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
This movie looks like Maxine.
Yes. 100%. This looks like Maxine, where they just switch the decade, and it's
looks
just not going to work.
And it's it just doesn't. It doesn't look like it's fun.
It doesn't look like it's fun.
It looks gross.
Yeah. I think that, listen, it's not going to be a disaster because it's Netflix, so there's no box office, and they'll just say this was, you know, the most watched thing other than our, you know, some German soap opera that probably got like 10 billion views that day.
And it's the most watched thing because you can watch it for 4 seconds and that counts as a watch.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're going to put out a stat that says it's the most successful movie since the Zack Snyder zombie bank robbery movie or whatever they say is their number one. But this movie looks like it's going to be a cultural nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That's a terrible big game spot when you don't even know the name of the movie or when it comes out, or the fact that it is a movie and not an AI ad.
Yeah.
That is a problem. Just some other movie-centric things during the big game. Did you see the Xfinity ad with the cast of the original Jurassic Park de-aged? Did you see this
Here's
de-aged?
what I want to say about these shills.
Okay.
And these scumbags.
Wow.
I don't want to hear anything from any of their mouths about AI, about actors' rights, about anything, because you are essentially giving people the right to replace you and to replace younger people. You are not people. You're taking a paycheck when you're already Sam Neill, what's his
Laura
face?
Dern, Jeff Goldblum,
VD ridden whatever, Jeff Goldblum.
They AI'd out all of his VD though.
Yeah.
All of his yeah.
I don't want to hear a goddamn. He's 80 years old. Sam Neill's 80 years old. You don't need any more money. You're creating a landscape for young people will not be able to do the art that you supposedly love so much. And I don't want to hear shit from Laura Dern either about anything after doing this commercial.
What was worse this year, her doing this commercial or her doing Is This Thing On?
Both are heinous acts.
Mm-hmm.
At least Is This Thing On, she got to ply her trade.
Right. And it was theatrical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the commercial, the Jurassic Park Xfinity commercial is worse.
Any of these actors, I don't want to hear anything from Sam Neill. I don't want to hear anything from Goldblum. I don't want to hear anything from them because they took a big paycheck to use this technology, because then it's like, oh, well, why do we need to have a young actor when we could just have a AI Jeff Goldblum, because he signed over his likeness rights, so we can just use him in a movie instead of using somebody who's actually going to physically be there and acting.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree. This was a heinous act. This Jurassic Park Xfinity commercial was a heinous act. It's a stain on the Jurassic franchise, which of course is a terrible franchise, except the first movie is one of the greatest summer movies of all time, and then
Yeah.
pretty much every other movie stinks. I would say that this commercial, and we're ranking this against some of the worst movies ever, these Jurassic sequels. This commercial is the worst thing in the history of the Jurassic franchise, which is a big, big statement when you've got 3 Chris Pratt Jurassic movies out there.
Now, did Spielberg have to sign off on this?
I think he must have. Because I don't think anything happens in the Jurassic franchise without him saying so. And they're using footage from the movie. I mean, he's someone who's getting like $1 a ticket off of every admission to Universal Studios because of Jurassic Park. So I assume he signed off on this. At least he didn't de-age himself, like do it behind the scenes and he's behind the camera, de-aged and saying, buy Xfinity.
And I know people are going to say, Clayton, it's just de-aging. It's not, they didn't, it's not generative, whatever. But like what this is doing is the slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. All right, let's then go to another ad starring a famous movie name that is directly for AI. Matthew Broderick. Did you see Matthew Broderick? I think he was selling something called like AI.com was basically what he was selling. It was a Gen Spark, and he's sort of playing his Ferris Bueller character because he's telling you to take a day off and let AI do your work for you. That was how he used the cachet of Ferris Bueller, the beloved 1980s character. He's as this 80-year-old man, however old Matthew Broderick is, still playing Ferris Bueller, day off, and AI will do everything for you. And that was his big appearance. Have you seen this commercial? I didn't see
this commercial, but let's get something clear here.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller always was a dick. Ferris Bueller was going to grow up to be a corporate asshole.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what Ferris Bueller would do.
Yes. Yeah.
Because he was always a piece of shit.
Yeah. Ferris Bueller was going to run a hedge fund or work at a VC company that was going to heavily leverage itself in AI.
Yeah.
Like because right now Ferris Bueller would be in his 60s or 70s, and when the bubble bursts, Ferris Bueller would, of course, he'd have to do his show, go in front of Congress one day because after the economy crashes due to AI, they bring everyone in there and pretend that anyone's going to get punished. And Ferris Bueller would have to do the afternoon where senators pretend to browbeat him, and then they go to lunch with him afterwards to Spago. That would have been what Ferris Bueller's life, how it would have played out.
Let's just say Ferris's name all over the files.
Yep. Yes. Ferris Bueller was in the files. Ferris Bueller, for sure, went to the island.
He was not just in the files.
Yeah. Thousands
of character in the files.
Yes. Yeah. Ferris Bueller was getting massages.
Yeah.
That was in the Ferris Bueller was the emails that Ferris Bueller wrote in his 50s and 60s were disgusting.
Yes.
Were disgusting. And he would have been making deals for AI funding while he was on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make sense. You're right.
But that's a fake character. Matthew Broderick is a real person.
Yeah.
And decided to do this.
Yeah. Is this, we talked about the Jurassic Park commercial being the worst thing in the franchise. Matthew Broderick doing this AI commercial using the Ferris Bueller character. Is this now the worst thing Matthew Broderick has ever done in his life?
Yes, and it's not even close.
It's not even close. Yes. This is what he'll be remembered for.
Mm-hmm.
When you list, Matthew Broderick, someday he passes on after spending 100 years as a consciousness in a warehouse robot, and he passes away, and the obituary list, here are the worst things Matthew Broderick, who died yesterday, the worst things he ever did, because that will be how humans are written up in their obituaries. It'll be your obituary will say, here's the 3 worst things you ever did when you were alive as a human.
Yeah, because those obituaries are going to be written by a younger generation who only ever think about the worst things that anybody's ever done.
Oh, I think it's going to be written by AI. Like that's what I'm thinking, is that human obituaries will just list the worst things you ever did because you were a human.
Okay.
And I think when Matthew Broderick passes, it'll be number 1 worst thing he ever did, this commercial, and then number 2 something else.
Yeah, something else.
Something else. And then yeah. So that was a despicable act by Matthew Broderick yesterday. And did you see Goodwill Dunkin?
Oh, I mean,
we got to touch on Goodwill
Dunkin sketch from 2011. Could they just not get Ben Affleck back then, and now they can? This thing was so stupid and so unfunny, and same thing, they all looked disgusting. Listen, I get why Urkel did this.
Yes,
Urkel, if it was
has to do it.
If it was
has
good Will Urkel or whatever, fucking yeah, do that commercial, because what else are you fucking doing, bro?
Yeah,
this is Ben Affleck. Like, this is terrible. He needs to answer for this shit.
Yeah, I get he loves Dunkin'. He genuinely is addicted to that piss water coffee. He loves it. He loves it. He loves shoving those donuts in his face. He genuinely loves it. He is a Boston guy, and everything that comes with being a Boston guy, he is that, including Dunkin'. So he loves the brand. But
this is like a Jimmy Fallon sketch.
Yes, that's the problem. That's the problem. Were the other people who were in this commercial? Jennifer Aniston as Rachel appears outside of the window of a Dunkin', aged to look. I mean, we thought the de-aging in the Jurassic Park Xfinity commercial was a nightmare. I mean, they're de-aging Jason Alexander, Urkel, Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston.
Brady did whatever he did to his face, so I don't think I don't think computers work on that face anymore.
Right, they don't recognize it. It can't. His face has been a surgery nightmare to a point where computers cannot detect him as
it's
a human. It's
5% real face at this point, so they're like not detecting face.
Right, too synthetic for even our AI detectors to pick up on.
Yeah.
So, were they in this commercial? Did Jennifer Aniston actually show up anywhere? Did she know?
I think that was webcam footage.
Yes, it was footage from her ring cam, which I don't know if you saw.
She just went out on her porch and did that. How do you like these nuts, or whatever she said?
Yeah. Yes, she said the famous Goodwill Hunting line. How do you like these nuts? Yeah, which is also something Rachel from Friends said. I guess I obviously didn't understand what the premise of this commercial really was, other than 90s characters hang out at a Dunkin'. Sam Malone, Ted Danson appearing in this commercial. That's the one that got both of us.
That was terrible.
Yeah,
that was truly terrible.
That was heartbreaking to see Sam Malone used that way. As two guys who, when we did the B.O. Boys Live in Boston a year ago, gigantic show, one of the greatest live shows of all time, packed house, podcast Jesus, Kirk Minahan was our guest. When we went to Boston for that show, Clayton, what did we do on our first full day in Boston? Where did we have to have a beer?
We went to Cheers.
Not
the Bull and Finch, because they don't call it that anymore. They call it Cheers.
It is officially Cheers. We went to Cheers. We paid homage, paid our respects, had beers, took pictures, sat where Norm would have sat if this had been a real bar. We went to Cheers.
Yeah.
This one hurt. Seeing Sam Malone de-aged to work at a Dunkin's next to Urkel. Ben
Alfonso
Affleck did that.
Ribeiro,
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Matt LeBlanc.
Wow.
Like here's the thing that has degraded so much is that back in real Hollywood, back when things mattered, someone that had this sort of film career that Ben Affleck had would not spit on Matt LeBlanc if he was on fire.
Yes.
He was a sitcom actor who tried at movies and failed. And listen, beloved sitcom actor. I think he's so funny as a sitcom actor, Matt LeBlanc. Episodes, great in episodes. He was super funny dude. But there was a partition.
There was a partition. Yes.
Imagine Tom Cruise in the same frame of film as Urkel.
Yes.
Can you even imagine it?
Could you imagine? I mean, could you imagine Paul Newman?
Yeah.
If Paul Newman passed by Robert Reed or Christopher Knight from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And they were begging, please help me. I am on fire. I'm currently on fire. I am burning to death. And Paul Newman, he's racing by. He's in a race car. He's drinking a salad dressing. He's a movie star. And he's got all this salad dressing in the back, just creamy, so creamy it put out a fire like that. And Paul Newman sees these two men on fire, Christopher Knight and Robert Reed from the Brady Bunch, and they're on fire and they're begging, please help me. I need anything, some thick liquid to put out this fire. Paul Newman, he would look, because it was an interesting sight to see people on fire.
It's fire. We're cavemen.
He looks, he sees the fire, sees people on fire. So he's like, all right, maybe I should do something. And then he sees it's TV stars. And Brady Bunch, biggest hit of its day. I'm sure network top 10. Paul Newman would say, oh, it's Christopher Knight, Robert Reed from Brady Bunch. I can't do it. I can't waste my salad dressing on you. And he just speeds off because they are TV stars and he's a movie star.
That's why movies don't matter anymore to people. Because what's the difference between Ben Affleck and Urkel now? There isn't a difference.
They're the same age. They're equally look like AI freaks.
Yeah.
And they're all working in a Dunkin's.
Yeah,
they're all working at a Dunkin's. Could you imagine when Paul Newman went on, and I love that they use this clip, comes full circle back to the Atomic Abe on his new episode on Crime Time After Prime Time, and he talked about the late night goings on of that day in the early 90s. When Paul Newman, which was a clip depicted in that Atomic Abe episode, when he went on the premiere of the Late Show with David Letterman, and he stood up from the audience and he said, where the hell are the singing cats? And Paul Newman said that line on a TV show, doing a sketch. That was national front page news on every newspaper in America. We talked about that for a month. We talked about that for a month, that Paul Newman was on television saying, where the hell are the singing cats? Because he was a movie star and he went on television.
Yes.
And he did a sketch on a late night TV show. And because that is how we looked at movie stars, that it was unheard of. It was national news. And now you have, and listen, I'm not saying Ben Affleck is Paul Newman, but Ben Affleck is supposed to be a movie star. And now he's doing Dunkin' commercials with a CGI'd Alfonso Ribeiro and Urkel, and no one cares. No one cares.
You're debasing yourself. There's no level of debasement that these people won't go to.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's so little interest in movies now. You know?
Yep.
It's sad.
Because
I mean,
they debase themselves.
But here is
Say it.
Here's the thing about people who are these new stars, which I do like. Timothée Chalamet. He's not going to be next to Urkel. He won't be.
I hope not. I would love for him to, if he wins the Oscar this year for Marty Supreme, if he wins the Best Actor, I want to hear him say, hold up that trophy. Thank you to the Academy. Thank you to the boom operator of this film. Thank you to my mom. He thanks everyone. And then he says, and I promise you, he could make a cut on his hand, like bleed, show blood to the camera. Say, I bleed, and I promise you, I will not do a big game commercial with Urkel or anyone. I will not debase. And he takes his bloody finger and he rubs it on the Academy Award, on the Oscar, and holds that up and said, I bled for this, and I will not let you down. I will not do a big game ad for an AI company with
I think
pop culture figures from the 90s. I will not do it.
And he should say, and if I see young Sheldon burning in the streets, I will not put him out.
I will not put him out.
I will watch him burn.
Yep. That would get a standing ovation. I will watch him burn. I think that would be an incredible Academy Award speech. It's a promise to not do a big game ad and to let young Sheldon burn in the streets if he saw him, because young Sheldon is a TV star. I guess the last one.
Now we don't want young Sheldon to burn in the streets.
No,
obviously. We're not saying some crazy person set young Sheldon on fire. Is not what we're saying, huh?
No, we do not want that. But Timothée Chalamet should, and we want him to be put out. We absolutely.
I'm not going to go that far, but I'll say that we don't want anybody to light him on fire. There are acts of God. Who knows? People get lit on fire all the time. People accidentally light themselves on fire. Young Sheldon's no different.
I'm going to go as far as
just like us.
I'm going to go as far as to say that if he did act of God, if that happened to poor young Sheldon,
well, maybe he's burning trash. And he puts an aerosol can in there, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and
he does it to himself.
And he's on fire.
Yep. If that happened to young Sheldon, I would want him to be put out, but either by the fire department, that's obviously would make the most sense, or by another TV star, like the cast of The Bear or cast of Abbott Elementary, puts him out.
Yeah.
Not Timothée Chalamet, who's a movie star who should just keep driving. I guess I was saying Emma Stone, we're talking about movie stars and we're talking about current Hollywood. Emma Stone did do a big game ad. It was for Squarespace. And it was directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who these two just cannot get enough of each other.
No.
Here's what I'll say. It was for Squarespace, which at this point, an ad for a website almost feels quaint. The fact that it wasn't an ad for cryptocurrency or an AI generator, and it wasn't an ad for ring cams that create a surveillance network for the state.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that ring cam commercial, but work with ring cam and everyone in your neighborhood could be under surveillance. So buy a ring cam. It wasn't for that. Emma Stone did an ad for a website that lets you buy domain names. That's what Squarespace is. And create your own websites. So on the scale of doing a big game commercial, she wasn't de-aged. She didn't interact with Urkel. It was just her by herself.
Okay.
I think that was what's great about this commercial is the entire commercial it was black and white. She looked incredible. She looked like a star. She got to be funny, and she didn't have to interact with anyone. It wasn't Emma Stone in a Squarespace commercial, and then the perfect strangers come up and hang out with her. That didn't happen. Or Caroline in the City in character hanging out with Emma Stone. It was just Emma Stone in a Yorgos black and white spot, looking great, trying to create her website, and then it says use Squarespace. So,
I mean, I think you're being a little bit. I mean, she is a multiple Oscar winner who did a commercial.
She is, but I think there is a difference between doing a commercial as a star and doing a commercial where you're interacting with sitcom stars. She did, again, I think the key is she didn't interact with anyone. She basically, this commercial went to show she's not interacting with TV stars. She's interacting with lesser movie stars. She's not interacting with extras and day players who are just auditioning for commercials. It was just, isn't Emma Stone, isn't she great? Here's 30 seconds of it. And then that's the end of it. I think as far as movie stars taking a payday and sort of, using the big game to just burnish their brand, this is the template. This is how you should do it.
You shouldn't do it at all.
You shouldn't do it at all. Okay.
You shouldn't do it at all.
Okay. What if it was Emma Stone reenacting the famous Cindy Crawford Pepsi ad? So instead of Grogu, it's Emma Stone. Could that have worked as a big game ad?
No, because she shouldn't be doing that. Because
she shouldn't be doing it at all.
Cindy Crawford's not a, she.
No. Okay.
That was like the highest level Cindy Crawford could reach.
Right.
Cindy Crawford's never going to win Oscars.
Okay. But at least it was an Emma Stone in character from Easy A, and they like de-aged her even though she wouldn't need it to look like she did in Easy A. And she's saying, why don't you get an Easy A by using AI? Easy AI. It wasn't that, which is, I'm sure that was pitched to Emma Stone.
Easy AI, yeah.
Easy AI. That was pitched to her.
Yeah, of course. She doing that Easy AI, yeah.
Yeah. And she said no. So instead, then they went to Matthew Broderick. So would you want to? Yes, please. Whatever it is. Please. I'm Matthew Broderick. Whatever it is, I'll sell it. I'll fuck it. I'll do whatever you need.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, I'll do it on television. Please. Mm-hmm. I'm Matthew Broderick. I'll sell it. I'll fuck it. I'll suck it. I'll do anything you need. So at least it wasn't that. She was like, black and white. My quote unquote friend Yorgos is directing it, and I look great, and I don't have to interact with anyone else.
Yeah, isn't her husband a director too?
Her husband is a director. Yes, I guess he could have directed it, but I'm sure he was busy that day.
Yeah, he's busy.
Emma Stone, they asked her, like, so would you want your husband? No, he's busy.
He's busy.
He's doing, he probably directed Goodwill Dunkin', let's be honest.
Oh, he'd be lucky.
Yeah. Maybe he was holding the boom on the set of Goodwill Dunkin'. So that is the big game, Clayton. A big game this year for movies. And email us your thoughts at theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. You know what? I do just want to highlight, we talked about it, so we don't have to go into it anymore, but we got an email from the great Danny Escamilaggi of I Screen, You Scream 4, number 4, the movies, and he has a whole new internet empire that he's building, a whole new YouTube channel. So, but Danny wrote us, hey guys, out of all the Super Bowl spots we got for movies, but for The Mandalorian and the Grogu had the worst commercial that lacked excitement, buzz. Are you guys willing to do a fatality on Mandalorian himself once the movie bombs? when I say fatality, I mean finish him the Mortal Kombat way and get nasty. Hope to see this. Thanks. So we heard this earlier in the show. I thought that commercial was a disaster. I am willing to, as Danny said, finish him when Mandalorian bombs in May. You don't think you have higher hopes for Grogu for Mandalorian. You're not willing to finish him.
Well, what's a bomb? I mean, we can talk about it when it
We'll
happens.
talk when it comes out,
but yeah.
But me and Danny on the same side of this commercial. So write us, theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. Follow us on social media at theboboyspod on Instagram, TikTok. Wannabe VP of Interns Christopher's killing it with those vertical clips. Subscribe to the Substack. Clayton, a new article on the Substack went up this past weekend. Big game coverage on the new Substack. So you got to read this new article that went up on the BO Boys Substack. Subscribe. Go there right now. Read the article. Subscribe to the Substack. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are YouTubers. Hey guys. And next episode, we got a huge movie finally open. We got Wuthering Heights is opening this Friday, and to preview it with it, preview that movie. Very special guest returning to the show from Barstool Sports, the one and only Keegs herself, Kelly Keegan, will be on the BO Boys to preview Wuthering Heights and Crime 101 and all the other movies coming out this weekend. But it's Wuthering Heights weekend, and we're going to have Kelly Keegs on to preview it with us. Huge episode. And that's it. That's it, Clayton. I got nothing else. I am spent. I got nothing left to say.
You've said it all, Pat.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything left to say.
No, I mean, I got nothing. Not a rallying cry.
Except for.
Oh.
Until next time.
We'll smell you at the box office.